In 2010, snagging a concert ticket was pricey, but still within reach for most fans. An average seat for a top tour cost under $100. Expensive? Sure, yet not outrageous. But by 2024, tickets for popular concerts were regularly selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, sometimes more than a month's rent. Seeing your favorite artist live suddenly became a luxury experience. The company that once promised easy access to live entertainment, Ticketmaster, had turned the joy of concerts into a financial agony for many fans. How did live music transform from an accessible passion into an exclusive luxury that prices out the very fans who built the industry? It all starts with understanding Ticketmaster's stranglehold on the live entertainment market. Ticketmaster wasn't always a reviled giant. Founded in the 1970s, it grew by selling event tickets conveniently, replacing long box office lines with a one-stop service. Its power move came in 2010, when Ticketmaster merged with live events promoter Live Nation. That merger created Live Nation Entertainment, a behemoth that controlled everything from tour promotion to ticket sales. Almost overnight, Ticketmaster became the gatekeeper for most major concerts. The U.S. Justice Department allowed the merger under a few conditions, hoping to keep the market fair. But in reality, competition dwindled. With exclusive deals at countless venues, Ticketmaster gained unrivaled power to set fees and policies. If you wanted to see a big artist or a hot tour, you usually had no choice but to buy through Ticketmaster. For a while, fans tolerated it. Concert prices rose gradually, year by year. The average North American concert ticket jumped up to 55% from 2009 to 2019, reaching about $95 by 2019. That outpaced inflation by a wide margin, but most people grumbled and paid, given that the experience was worth it and no real alternatives existed. Ticketmaster's dominance meant it could tack on service fees, facility fees, and convenience charges that often added 20%, 30%, or more to the ticket price. Bands like Pearl Jam famously objected these practices back in the 90s. The rock group filed an antitrust complaint in 1994, accusing Ticketmaster of gouging fans with excessive fees.
All the members of Pearl Jam remember what it's like to be young and not have a lot of money. Many Pearl Jam fans are teenagers who do not have the money to pay $30 or more that it's often charged for tickets today.
The case fizzled out without action, and Ticketmaster only grew stronger. With its merger in 2010, the company assured regulators it wouldn't bully venues or jack up costs unfairly. But as the years went on, many observers felt Ticketmaster did exactly that, using its market power to squeeze every dollar it could from live music fans. By the early 2020s, Ticketmaster found a new way to push ticket prices even higher through dynamic pricing. Instead of a fixed face value price, dynamic pricing adjusts ticket costs in real time based on demand, much like airline tickets or Uber surge fares. Ticketmaster began experimenting with this in 2022, claiming it would simply let artists capture more of the true market value, which scalpers had been getting on resale. In theory, that sounds reasonable. Why shouldn't musicians earn more if fans are willing to pay more? In practice, however, it led to shock and outrage. When tickets for Bruce Springsteen's 2023 tour went on sale, devoted fans were horrified to see some seats surge to $4,000 or even $5,000 apiece in the Ticketmaster checkout. These were regular floor tickets whose prices ballooned because the algorithm sensed high demand. Springsteen's manager, John Landau, felt compelled to defend the prices publicly. He argued that only a modest number of tickets hit the $1,000 range and that the average ticket price for the tour was actually in the mid-200s. In Landau's view, around $200 to $250 to see a legendary artist was fair in today's environment. But fans noted that those mid-tier prices were only that low because they were in the nosebleeds. A great seat was now a fantasy for anyone without a fortune, and the PR damage was done. Even a whiff of $5,000 tickets left a bad taste. Springsteen's tour was not an isolated case. Around the same time, pop-punk band Blink-182 saw similar eye-watering prices during pre-sales. Ordinary tickets that should have been, say, $150 were coming up as $300, $500, or more. This was Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing at work, turning the ticket market into an auction. The message to fans was crystal clear. Pay up whatever the algorithm dictates, or you don't get to go. Many artists quietly went along with this system, but a few pushed back. In March 2023, Robert Smith of the band The Cure made headlines by refusing dynamic pricing for his tickets. He deliberately kept base prices as low as $20 to make the shows affordable for true fans. But even then, Ticketmaster's infamous fees kicked in some cases adding up to more than the $20 ticket itself. When Smith saw that fans were being charged exorbitant fees, he was sickened and publicly blasted Ticketmaster. Embarrassed, Ticketmaster actually refunded a portion of the fees to everyone who bought Cure tickets as a one-time make-good. That small victory for fans showed how outrageous the fee situation had become when even a rock legend was shocked into action. The dynamic pricing experiment, in Ticketmaster's own view, was a success for revenue, but a disaster for goodwill. By late 2022, the term Ticketmaster was trending for all the wrong reasons. As more stories of $1,000 range tickets spread, fans felt like they were bidding against invisible bots and millionaires for the right to attend a concert. Beyond the face value of tickets, everyone knows Ticketmaster adds fees, but the scale of those fees has grown to wild levels. Purchasing a $50 ticket and seeing a service fee, facility charge, and order processing fee tacked on has become routine. In some documented cases, fees have exceeded 50% of the ticket's price, or even doubled it, as the Cure's tour demonstrated. In fact, Ticketmaster's Canadian arm was fined in 2019 for deceptive pricing practices. Regulators found the company was advertising artificially low ticket prices, and then adding fees that made the total 20% to 65% higher than the sticker price. In other words, a ticket advertised at $100 could end up costing $165 after checkout, which authorities deemed misleading to consumers. Ticketmaster paid a $4.5 million penalty for those practices in Canada, but the hefty fees continued on both sides of the border. From Ticketmaster's perspective, some fees go to the venue, some to promoters, some to themselves. It's just how the live business works. But the lack of transparency created enormous frustration. Fans would see a reasonable price on an event page, get excited, click through to buy, and then feel cheated when the total jumped 30% higher due to add-ons revealed at the final step. By the time all fees were disclosed, many buyers felt pot committed. They'd already waited in a queue and might begrudgingly pay the extra out of fear that if they restarted, they'd lose the tickets. It's a classic drip pricing strategy. Lure customers with one price, then incrementally reveal extras. Behavioral economics suggests this works because people rationalize the added cost once they've invested time or emotional energy. But it also breeds resentment and a sense of being swindled. The public anger at these junk fees grew so loud that it reached the halls of government. In mid-2023, the US government, from President Biden to the Federal Trade Commission, announced a crackdown on hidden fees in many industries, including ticketing. Under pressure, Ticketmaster finally agreed to implement all-in pricing, showing the full price, including fees up front, by September 2023 on its core platform. It was a significant policy change, acknowledging that the old way was unfair to consumers. This suggests that only the threat of regulation forced Ticketmaster's hand. After years of dragging their feet, they conceded that transparency was necessary. Even so, while this move was welcomed, it doesn't actually lower the fees. It just makes them visible earlier. As of 2024, fees remain sky high, and fans still frequently pay 25 to 30% on top of base price in fees for major concerts. The difference is they know from the start, rather than getting an unpleasant surprise at checkout. It's an improvement in honesty, but not in affordability. Perhaps the most paradoxical aspect of Ticketmaster's rise in power is how it dealt with ticket resellers, or scalpers. For years, Ticketmaster publicly criticized scalpers and ticket bots for snatching seats and reselling them at huge markups. The company even lobbied for laws to curb unauthorized resale, but behind the scenes, Ticketmaster was quietly profiting from the scalping ecosystem. Investigations and reports in the late 2010s revealed that Ticketmaster had set up special programs, like its trade desk platform, and policies that actually courted large-scale scalpers instead of banning them. This secret partnership with scalpers meant Ticketmaster got paid fees on the resale of tickets in addition to the original sale. It was double dipping, and fans were the ones being squeezed. Live Nation Ticketmaster at first denied such allegations, but later a Billboard report in 2019 confirmed a long-standing practice. In some cases, Live Nation would directly allocate tickets intended for the public sale and put them on resale sites, bypassing the initial face value sale entirely. An email trail showed that this happened at the request of certain artists' management, aiming to capture more revenue from high-demand shows. Economists call this kind of scheme a form of rent-seeking, extracting maximum profit without creating any value at the expense of consumers. This behavior destroyed trust immensely. Ticketmaster was supposed to be the place where fans get tickets at face value, safe and fair. Instead, it appeared to many that Ticketmaster became a scalper itself, or at least an enabler of scalpers, as long as it shared in the profit. By 2025, US regulators had gathered evidence of just how lucrative this was. Ticketmaster raked in an estimated $3.7 billion in fees from resale tickets between 2019 and 2024. That's billions earned largely on markups charged to desperate fans in the secondary market. Little wonder that concertgoers felt the system was rigged against them. They weren't entirely wrong. It seems Ticketmaster had financial incentive for popular shows to sell out instantly and be resold at higher prices on its own platforms. The company could publicly bemoan scalpers while quietly saying "ka-ching" with each resale fee. All these frustrations, exploding dynamic prices, extortionate fees, and shady resale practices were building up throughout 2022. The powder keg finally blew up in November of that year during the ticket sale for Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour. This was the most anticipated tour of 2023. Demand was off the charts. Ticketmaster had developed a verified fan system to handle big on-sales, ostensibly to keep out bots and give real fans a fair shot. For Taylor's presale, 1.5 million chosen fans got special codes to buy tickets. But when the sale started, Ticketmaster's site imploded under unprecedented traffic. 14 million people and bots flooded the system, according to Live Nation's own chairman. That overwhelming surge, nearly 10 times more than expected, caused the Ticketmaster website to crash repeatedly. Countless fans entered online waiting rooms, only to be frozen for hours, or kicked out due to errors. It was outright chaos. Some lucky fans managed to snag seats, but millions of others were left furious and empty-handed despite following all the rules. The Swift ticket fiasco became international news. Here was one of the world's biggest stars, and tens of thousands of her most eager fans could not get tickets at any price, simply because Ticketmaster's system failed so spectacularly. The company hastily postponed some sale times, and in a move that shocked everyone, canceled the tour's general public ticket sale entirely. They explained that the demand from the presale had exhausted the supply, and indeed 2 million tickets were sold in one day, a record. But to the fans, it felt like another betrayal. If you weren't lucky enough to get a presale code or beat the bots, you had zero chance to attend Taylor's show unless you paid scalpers thousands of dollars. While lawyers battle in courtrooms, an interesting shift is happening among artists and fans. The anger at Ticketmaster has led some high-profile musicians to seek alternatives, or at least speak out. Even Taylor Swift, who is known to be protective of her fan base, made a pointed comment after the Eras Tour fiasco, saying she found it excruciating to watch fans struggle for tickets and that it underscored how difficult it is for everyone to get tickets from an outside entity. She diplomatically didn't name Ticketmaster, but the implication was clear. On the consumer side, fans have become more savvy. They swap tips on Reddit and Discord about navigating Ticketmaster's queues or using multiple devices. Some have turned to competing ticket platforms like SeatGeek, AXS, or Eventbrite whenever those options exist, though those are usually limited to specific venues or smaller events. A cottage industry of browser extensions and services has also popped up, aiming to help fans autofill CAPTCHAs or monitor drops in ticket prices. Fans are arming themselves for war against the hurdles that Ticketmaster has put in place. It's also worth noting the psychology at play that keeps many fans shelling out despite the anger. Live music triggers deep emotions, nostalgia, euphoria, connection that people crave, especially after the isolation of the pandemic. Economists would say the demand for seeing a beloved artist is highly inelastic. If seeing Taylor Swift means the world to you, you might pay almost whatever it takes. Ticketmaster and the industry know this. The history of Ticketmaster's domination and the resulting concert ticket inflation is still unfolding. Will concerts ever be affordable again for the average person? Well, once consumers have shown they're willing, even unhappily, to pay $150 or $300 for a show that used to cost $50, the market price tends to stick around that level. For fans and artists, The hope is that this painful period sparks a recalibration. Live music thrives purely on the energy of fans who can afford to be there and genuinely want to be there. If prices climb too high, that energy suffers, and so does the art and business of music in the long run. What do you think? Have you decided against going to a show you really wanted to see because of ridiculous ticket prices or fees? What's the most you'd be willing to pay for your absolute favorite artist? If you enjoyed this video and want more business wizardry, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button.